Okay, basically, here we go. I'm posting this so that I can hold myself accountable. This is my story with alcohol, I guess. Whenever I was 15, I threw a party with my friends because I just wanted to have friends. And this is what they did. They partied. And I was like, oh, I can have friends if I throw a party at my mom's house. And then basically it got busted. And then after that, my mom relapsed. Ended up living with my dad. Then when I turned 21, I started drinking. And that was just like more so after work, like to get the stress out, I guess, get the stress off. And it was more so like every other day, but then it kind of turned into every day. And then once I discovered vodka, I would buy bottles of vodka because I was going through a breakup, and I used that as an excuse to allow myself to drink more. And then it low-key destroyed my ability to care for myself, I would say. So like, I didn't give a shit about what happened to me is what I'm saying. So I took care of myself. I was a very efficient person when I was drinking. I would just lower my standards in my head. Like, I didn't have a care for my own body and my own self-esteem, but everything else I took care of around me. Anyways, I basically ended up, it just kept getting worse until I kept getting closer to God. And then one day I landed on my hands and knees and I was like praying to God, and I was like, take this away from me. I can't stand this anymore. Like, why is this happening? And it was right in front of my ex-boyfriend whenever, it was like a year ago, but that really changed my life. And it was taken away. I didn't have a craving for it at all, and I was so wow. And it kind of came back, and slowly like kind of came back, and then I got locked. I locked back in a little bit, and I was like, of course that would happen, it's testing me and shit. And so I was doing good. And then whenever I moved, that was going to be the change. And I was like 23 whenever this happened, and then whenever I was 24, that's whenever I was starting to get more sober and shit. But I would let myself drink here and there, like socially. I just want to put a little disclaimer and be like, why, if you see somebody that's having a problem or struggling with something, why would you enable it? And if you yourself are judging me for that exact thing, why are you enabling it? That's what I want to know. Like, that makes you wonder. I mean, why wasn't anybody asking me if I needed help? Why wasn't anybody checking in on me? Why? That's something that really pisses me off. Because if it wasn't so normalized, it wouldn't be like that. You know what I mean? And if I knew, I was very naive. I was scared to even buy alcohol. I was shaking when I first bought alcohol the first time. I was terrified. It took me a whole, like, year almost to even purchase alcohol after being 21. Like, I was that scared. And then I ended up moving back home because I wanted to be completely sober. I didn't want to smoke weed or be around that environment where I was at. I was really appreciative for where I was at, where I was living, where I was staying, and who I've met. I didn't want to lie to people that I respected, so I wanted to live a completely, like, wholesome life, and that's what I wanted in my last relationship, and it just didn't. It's not what happened. And so I tried to be honest, and I tried to tell my side of the story, but it never got told. Before it could even ever get told, I moved back home, or I was flown back home, moved back home from a different state, because I was with somebody who was, like, really thinking that things were gonna, like, work out in the way, like, I wanted to be like, let's prove to your parents that this is a good relationship, like, we can work together on things. And then he didn't want to do it, so then I started drinking more. It doesn't matter, it's not his fault, it's my fault. He just got really depressed because things happened in his life. But I got even more depressed because things weren't happening in my life. And all I ever want to do is be productive. All I ever want to do is work. I always am doing something and always working on something, and I'm always cleaning or doing something. You can literally ask anybody. And that's when I made the decision to completely change my life, and I was like, I'm going to go to therapy. I'm going to keep myself in check, not drinking, not smoking, not vaping, ending it all. I couldn't stop vaping. That's the one thing that I didn't stop. I did stop it for like a week, and I was like, holy shit, I'm totally fine without vaping. Like, I don't need this shit. I do not need this. I don't need this. Like, it's actually, I'm gonna be quitting. I'm gonna be quitting. This is my last one. That's what I'm saying. I cut it all out, and I was really proud of myself and doing really well, and life just kept getting harder and testing me more and more and more and more and more after I got out of the hospital, and I was like feeling the best I've ever felt, super proud of myself, ready to fucking go live life. And then I got kicked out of my dad's house and ended up moving into a stranger's house. And I don't have a car because before I moved to a different state, I sold it. My boyfriend had convinced me it would be a good idea because he was like, you can have my car, and I was like, I don't really want your car. Basically, I was planning on working at a place that we had talked about me working at for a really long time, and I was planning on buying my own car, and I wanted to work at a car, like, shop place, and I wanted to start learning about cars because that's something that I've always wanted to do and I've never gotten to because I'm a girl and people have opinions. I wasn't able to get the job because people have opinions, and I didn't know that people felt certain ways about me. That's what it felt like. By the end of it, I realized, oh, that's probably why I didn't get the job, because I didn't realize this person felt that way about me. My goal was to work towards getting my own car and everything, but I was that depressed that I stopped caring about my life because I had realized I was with somebody who didn't want to grow up, and that reflected that I didn't want to grow up. And I was like, I want to grow up. I don't want to be a kid anymore. I'm tired of being treated like a kid. I want to grow up. And it's easy whenever you have a good family to not have to grow up so fast. I think people should be more grateful for that. And that's not something that I can do. This is something I can allow myself to do. So I decided to live life the hardest way possible and lose everything to choose myself. He wanted to get a truck. He was trying to pawn off his car on me, and I thought that was disgusting. I was like, I did not want to be in a relationship like that. I'm sorry. I like to work for things and be like, I did that. I made that happen. Like, on the side of my dad's BMW, it literally says not sponsored by mom and dad. So I'm trying to be independent. I'm trying to live my life the best I can. Unfortunately, I'm not sponsored by mom and dad. But I do love them, and they're the best. Last couple months have been pretty good. Honestly, I was doing really, really well, and then for 2 weeks maybe, I have been drinking a little bit more, and I'm just I don't want that to happen again. I don't want to go back in that environment again, so I want to make a video to hold myself accountable for this, because drinking, it's poison. It's literally poison, and it's there's a certain extent of the excuses you can make for it, but there's no excuse for it. There's literally no excuse but the fact that you just want to numb out your feelings, and you're avoiding something. And I'm a very avoidant person, so I think that's what causes this relationship with alcohol, but I'm totally fine without it, and I don't need it. I'm just I really want to make a video to hold myself accountable, because it really has ruined a lot of my relationships in my life, a lot. And it's not because of thing I feel towards other people, it's because of the way that I feel towards myself and the way that I have lowered my standards and not been able to speak up about it. I think for the longest time I haven't been able to speak about how I genuinely truly feel in my soul, because I didn't know how to speak to anybody, and I was always very shy. And so this whole past year, while I've been getting better and I was working on my not drinking, I literally have been writing a book to keep myself accountable. I started a podcast to keep myself accountable. I haven't shared this full story yet on there, because I only shared the beginning of whatever happened whenever I was writing the book. I would love, I'm going to share this whole story, and I'm going to share the journey, because this is a journey. It's gonna be happening, and just very proud of how far I've come. And the old me wouldn't even have been able to speak. Whenever I got out of that relationship, I couldn't even say a word, because I didn't know how to speak. That's why I never asked for help in it, or tell anybody, or talk to any of my family members, because I'd push people away to the most highest extent I ever could, because I was I could figure it out myself. But never rely on just yourself when you're really going through it and you know that you need help. Always ask for help. That's why I'm making this video. Always ask for help, because you will keep it to yourself for a year and a half and nobody will ask you if you wanted to ask for help. Nobody will ask you how you were doing. Nobody will ask you Nobody will ask you anything. You will just have to deal with whatever story other people made up for you, because people will talk for you, and do not let them. I'm just really proud of myself and how far I've come, and I don't know, dude, life, this happens to everybody, but at least I'm grown enough to talk about it. This isn't any shade or anything. This is all for educational purpose. This is no shade, and this is all educational purposes only. That's what it is. This is what it's for. This is motivational. This is for me to look back on, for other people also struggling with the same thing to be motivated by. And yeah, I'm literally, just want to put a little disclaimer. I'm 24 years old. It's my first time living. I'm still a kid. My brain is not fully developed, and I've been treated like I'm a 53-year-old adult. I get mistaken for 13 all the time. I'm a very young-hearted person, young-spirited. So, definitely gonna need to work on my adultness, but I'm just saying I genuinely feel in my heart and soul that I haven't been given enough grace for how young I am and how much I'm not gonna cry because this is bullshit, but I don't need the grace. I'm just saying I don't need the attention, I don't need the love, I don't need the care. But that's what got me here, is feeling that way and not asking for help. So I'm just saying I'm friends with the monster. I'm only 24 and I can only do so much with the life I've been given, and I'm trying my best, and this is me trying.